Before midnight, the universe will ask you one question, and no, it won't speak in words, it won't shout or knock, it will whisper, in sensation, in silence, in symbols, and if you're too distracted to hear it, too numb to feel it, you'll answer it wrong. And if you answer it wrong, you won't be punished. You'll just delay a transformation you've been waiting lifetimes for. You are not watching this by accident. The moment you clicked this video, you entered a sacred countdown. Not to something dramatic, but to something invisible. A shift so quiet, so internal, most people miss it entirely. But if you miss this one, you won't just miss a moment. You'll miss an entry point, a reset, a clean slate that only opens for a breath and then seals shut for months. The new moon in Cancer arrives tomorrow. And while everyone's talking about manifestation and wish-making, that's not what this moon is for. This isn't about building on top of what already exists. It's about letting go of what's rotting the foundation underneath. Because Cancer isn't just about emotions, it's about emotional inheritance. This moon reaches into your nervous system, into the places you didn't even know were carrying pain, and it whispers, "Do you still need this?" And you must answer, not with words, not with thoughts, but with action. And you must do it before the moon is new, before the sky goes completely dark. Because the moment it does, your body locks in whatever it was holding, and whatever hasn't been cleared, whatever hasn't been surrendered, it becomes the seed, even if you don't want it to. So pause now, before we continue. If you already feel something rising inside you, if your chest is heavy, or your palms are tingling, or your throat feels like it's holding back something that isn't quite a word, you are being prepared. Hit the like button so this message spreads, subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next, and drop the number 77 in the comments below to claim your readiness, to show the universe you're not running this time, that you're listening. Let's begin. Most people think new moons are passive, that because they're dark, nothing is happening. But that's exactly when everything happens. Think about a seed. It doesn't grow in sunlight first. It breaks open in the soil, under pressure, in darkness. That's what this moon is doing to you. It's creating the sacred soil of transformation. But the question is, what are you planting without realizing it? Cancer governs the 4th house in astrology, the house of roots, family, home. But not just physical home, energetic home. It rules the programs you absorbed before you even knew what programming was. The beliefs you inherited from your mother's silence, the guilt you carry from your father's sadness, the coping mechanisms passed down like heirlooms. This moon doesn't just ask, "What do you want?" It asks, "Whose energy are you still holding?" This is why the new moon in Cancer is never casual. It's ancestral. The body becomes the archive. And in this moment, as the moon begins its reset, it's inviting you to run your fingers across those old pages and choose, do you keep this script, or finally close the book? And here's the truth most astrologers won't say. The moon doesn't wait. It doesn't care if you're ready. It reflects what is. And if you're still holding bitterness, blame, shame, fear, it will encode that into the cycle. Not to punish you, but to show you. You might be wondering, why now? Why does this feel heavier than other new moons? Because this one is nested between powerful aspects. The Sun is in Cancer, Saturn is squaring it, and Neptune is dissolving illusions. That means emotional responsibilities are being tested, false identities are crumbling, anything built on emotional denial is about to feel very, very loud in your body. And still, you must be still. You must listen deeper, because this isn't about force, this is about receptivity. And yes, there is a final activation, a sacred instruction embedded in this moon. But it will only unlock if you do the right things before the portal closes. That's why I'm about to give you 9 crucial rituals that guide your body, your breath, and your energy back into alignment. You don't need fancy crystals. You don't need sage or salt. What you need is presence, stillness, and a willingness to listen to what your soul is asking you to release. Because buried beneath the emotional noise is a pulse, and it's not just spiritual, it's physical. Some of you already feel it in your hands, a warmth, a restlessness, a rhythm. That's part of what we'll reveal at the very end of this video, and once you understand what your body is trying to say, everything else about this moon will make sense. So, if you're ready to uncover what's been waiting to be released, if you're ready to stop repeating and start rewriting, stay with me. Like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop the number 77 in the comments below to anchor this moment into your field. Because what's coming next isn't about astrology, it's about activation, and the ritual starts now. Chapter 1. Wipe the mirror. Clear the emotional surface. So now that you understand what's truly at stake before this new moon arrives, we begin with the first ritual, the one most people skip, not because it's hard, but because it's quiet. This moon doesn't want your resolutions. It doesn't care what you want to manifest yet, because you can't build on top of clutter. You can't write a new story in a journal that's already soaked in someone else's words. The new moon in Cancer demands one thing before all else, a clear emotional surface. Which brings us to your first ritual, wipe the mirror. Cancer is a water sign. And water is reflective. It doesn't show you what you want to see, it shows you what you are. When this moon rises, it doesn't bring you visions of the future, it brings you memories. Emotional loops, feelings that you thought you buried years ago, but suddenly show up in your body like they never left. That's not a regression, that's a reflection, and unless you face it, you'll project it onto the new cycle. You might be wondering, why do the same emotions keep coming back? I've already dealt with this, haven't I? But here's the truth. Just because you cried once doesn't mean you've released it. Just because you understand something logically doesn't mean your body isn't still holding it. This moon brings back not what you're consciously thinking, but what your nervous system never got to complete. Think of it like a record skipping. Until you address the scratch, it will keep playing the same note, no matter how advanced the speaker system is. This is why you need to journal, not for clarity, not for planning, but for emotional excavation. You are not here to perform clarity. You are here to confront what has been lingering in the corners of your emotional field. So sit, breathe, ask yourself one question. What emotion has been showing up over and over this month? Sometimes quietly, sometimes violently, but always repeatedly. Don't filter it. Don't try to make it poetic. Don't write what you think you should feel. Write what keeps banging on the door. Is it shame? Write it. Is it jealousy? Write it. Is it numbness? Write that too. Because the more honestly you face it, the more you wipe the mirror clean, and only then will the light of this new moon show you who you really are beneath the fog. Imagine walking into a house filled with smoke. You can't redecorate. You can't see the colors on the walls, not until you open the windows and let the air clear. That's what this journaling ritual does. It opens a window in your emotional body. It clears the fog so that something real, something new, can actually arrive. And if you're asking, is writing really enough to do that? Remember this, words are spells. When you take a feeling from the chaos of your chest and place it on paper, you're doing more than expressing it. You're extracting it, pulling it out of your system like poison from a wound. And no, it won't fix everything overnight, but it starts the clearing process. And that's what this moon needs from you first. Not perfection, not performance, just presence. This is the first gate, and if you skip this one, every ritual that follows will rest on emotional debris. So wipe the mirror, not for clarity's sake, but because what comes next needs space to land, and your spirit is asking for that space now. Chapter 2. Honor the womb, clean your sleep space. The first ritual clears the emotional mirror, the second prepares the space where your spirit regenerates. Because during a new moon, especially one in Cancer, you're not just making emotional choices, you're resetting your spiritual womb. Think about it. New moons begin in darkness, not just literal night, but primordial dark. The kind of silence that exists before the heartbeat, before the thought, before the version of you that even knows how to protect itself. This moon brings you back to the beginning, not your beginning in this life, but the space your soul chooses to rest between lifetimes. And in this life, that space is your sleep. Your bed is not just furniture, it's a ritual chamber, a field of frequency where your subconscious sheds the armor of your waking identity and whispers truths your daytime self is too distracted to hear. This is where dreams are downloaded. This is where instructions are encoded. And most importantly, this is where your nervous system heals, if you let it. You might be thinking, what does cleaning my bed have to do with energy? But here's what you need to know. Everything carries charge. Your sheets absorb stress. Your pillows store breath. The clothing you sleep in holds the emotional imprint of your day. When you enter that space without intention, you're not resting, you're recycling. You're turning in circles inside the same thoughts, the same fears, the same old loops. But this new moon is asking you to interrupt that loop. So here's your ritual. Wash your sheets. Wipe down your nightstand. Remove objects from your sleep space that don't reflect peace. Light a candle, not for magic, but for memory. Signal your subconscious that this is a new room, a sacred room, a receiving station. Some of you have already felt this. Waking up more tired than you went to sleep. Having dreams that feel important, but vanish the moment your eyes open. Feeling like your sleep is haunted, even though your room is quiet. That's not your imagination. That's energetic clutter. And this moon is giving you one night, this night, to clear the static. And here's where it connects to the final activation we'll talk about later. When the moon codes your body, it starts with the hands, but it anchors through sleep. If the place you sleep in isn't clean, clear, and quiet, the message won't land. It will circle, it will knock, but it won't root. So honor the womb, clear the room. Because tonight isn't just a nap. It's a return to the space between who you were and who you came here to be. Chapter 3. Offer something back to the past. Once you've cleared your emotional mirror and honored the space where your soul rests, the next step is to acknowledge where you came from. Because this new moon isn't just personal, it's ancestral. Cancer rules the roots, not just family ties, but energetic inheritance. The patterns, fears, habits, and silent beliefs passed down through generations. This isn't about blaming your parents. This is about recognizing that some of what you're carrying was never yours to hold. And right now, the moon is offering you a rare moment to give it back. But not with resentment, with reverence. You might be asking, but how do I release something I didn't create? How do I honor ancestors I never even knew? You do it through symbolic offering, because in energetic language, symbols carry weight. Pouring water becomes a surrender. Lighting a candle becomes a prayer. Speaking their names aloud, yes, even the ones you don't fully understand, becomes a bridge across time. The truth is, some of the fears you're working through didn't begin with you. They began with someone who never had the tools to speak about them. Someone who was silenced by culture, by war, by survival. Someone who swallowed their dreams so you could have room to imagine yours. This new moon gives you a chance to speak for them, not just with words, but with action. Pour a glass of water and place it near a window. Light a candle and speak their names, or simply whisper, "For the ones who came before me and couldn't finish what I now begin." That intention alone sends a message through your bloodline. It tells your ancestors, you are not forgotten. and your pain will not go unloved. This isn't just a ritual of gratitude, it's a release, because when you offer something to the past, you're also setting a boundary. You're saying, I carry your strength, not your suffering. I walk forward, not in rebellion, but in completion. And here's something powerful. When you honor your ancestors, you activate their support. You're not alone in this. You have help. But help only comes when we acknowledge it, when we make space for it. And this moon, the moon of Cancer, the mother, the lineage, the protector, sees that offering. And when she sees it, the energy returns tenfold, not in material things, but in clarity, in healing, in dreams where they appear, nod, and walk away, because you're finally carrying the torch with peace. This is your moment to give something back, even if it's just a whisper, because sometimes healing your future means bowing gently to your past. Chapter 4. Don't post it, protect it. Now that you've honored the past, it's time to protect the future. Because while everyone is out there posting intentions and broadcasting their manifestations, this moon isn't asking you to declare anything. It's asking you to guard it. This is one of the most misunderstood truths about manifestation during a new moon. Not all light is safe. Just because you can share something doesn't mean you should, especially now. Cancer is a sign that protects what it loves. It doesn't flaunt the seed, it buries it deep. And that's your fourth ritual. Keep your biggest dream silent, at least for the next 48 hours. You might be wondering, why does it matter if I share it? Isn't speaking it out loud a form of power? And yes, sometimes it is, but not now. Not during the new moon, when your vision is still forming. Think of it like a baby in the womb. You don't yank it out the moment you see potential. You protect it. You give it silence, darkness, safety, so it can develop into something strong enough to stand. When you speak too soon, especially online or in vulnerable energy, your dream becomes energetically exposed. It's like taking a sacred flame and placing it in a storm. Opinions become winds. Doubt becomes water. Comparison becomes shadows that dim your internal fire. And the worst part? Most of the time, you won't even realize it's happened. You'll just notice the spark you had suddenly feels distant, muddied, cold. This is also one of the reasons the final activation we'll speak about later often fails for people. It's not because they didn't do the rituals, it's because they leaked the energy before it could crystallize, before it could root. What was meant to be sacred became performative, and the moon, as always, responded to what was, not what was intended. So right now, your silence is your strength. Keep the dream in your hands. Don't post it, don't explain it, don't even hint at it in conversation. Let it sit in your chest like a sacred ember. Let it glow in your private space until it begins to warm your bones. This new moon isn't asking you to announce your next chapter. It's asking you to build it in secret, because what's born in silence, when protected, cannot be broken by noise. And that's the kind of power this moon is offering you, but only if you're willing to trust the unseen. Chapter 5. Plant nothing physical, but everything emotional. Now that you've learned to protect what's forming, let's talk about what you're really here to plant. And no, it's not a wish. It's not a business goal or a vision board or a crystal grid. It's something much deeper, something emotional, something ancient. This new moon isn't asking you to light another candle and chant about abundance. It's asking you to go inside, find the emotion that's been holding you hostage, and bury it. You might be thinking, but aren't new moons about setting intentions? Shouldn't I be asking for something? And here's the truth. Your energy already asked. What the moon needs from you now isn't a request. It's a release. Because no intention will root in soil that's tangled with old weeds. No new beginning can rise on top of an emotional pattern you're secretly still feeding. So here's your ritual. Choose one emotion, just one, the one that keeps circling. Maybe it's guilt, maybe it's fear of abandonment, maybe it's the belief that you have to shrink to be loved. You already know what it is, because it shows up in every relationship, every decision, every pause. Don't try to fix it. Don't try to overwrite it with love and light. Just acknowledge it. Then write it down, fold the paper, and bury it. In the earth, in a bowl of salt, under your bed, anywhere symbolic of letting go. The point is not the ritual itself, it's the surrender, the silence, the burial of what no longer belongs in your body. This is where the real planting happens. You're not planting a desire, you're planting a death. And in the natural cycle of things, every death becomes fertile ground. That's what the moon responds to, not what you want, but what you're finally willing to stop carrying. You might ask, but will one buried emotion really make a difference? Yes. Because emotions are energetic seeds. What you feel long enough, you start to believe. What you believe long enough, you start to live. And what you live long enough becomes your reality. So when you consciously choose to stop feeding an old emotional pattern, you create space for truth to grow. This moon is dark for a reason. It's not the spotlight, it's the underworld, the womb, the garden before the sprouts. Plant nothing material tonight, but plant everything emotional. And do it knowing that silence doesn't mean nothing's happening. It means everything is. Chapter 6. Burn a paper, but don't read it. Now that you've planted the emotional seed in silence, it's time to confront what's been poisoning your roots from within, self-punishment. The kind no one sees, the guilt that lingers like fog around your heart. The moment, the choice, the version of you that you've secretly refused to forgive. And that brings us to the 6th ritual. Burn a paper, but don't read it. You see, forgiveness isn't always about other people. Sometimes the most stubborn pain is the one you've held against yourself. That one thing you keep replaying in your head. The sentence you wish you never said. The chance you didn't take. The warning you ignored. Maybe it happened years ago. Maybe just last week. But the emotional charge it carries still burns. And here's the paradox. You want to heal. But healing can't take root where guilt is still growing. You might ask, but don't I have to understand it first to release it? No, not this time. Understanding can become a trap, a loop, a mental maze you never escape from. What you need now is detachment, not dissection. This is why the ritual must be done in silence, without rereading, without reliving. Write it down. One sentence, one memory, one feeling, the exact thing you can't seem to forgive yourself for. Be honest. Don't try to make it poetic. Don't try to soften it. Write the ugly version, the one that makes your stomach twist. Then fold the paper and burn it. But here's the key. Don't look back. Don't reread it. Don't analyze it as the flame takes it. Because that's the test. That's the real ritual. Can you let go without needing to control the exit? Can you trust that the fire knows what to do with your grief? This is a ritual of emotional transmutation. Fire is one of the oldest cleansing tools on earth, not because it erases, but because it transforms. And when you burn what no longer serves you, especially without rereading it, you tell the universe, I trust that this no longer defines me. What happens next is subtle, quiet. You may feel lighter, emptier, even a little raw, but in that space, in that exact void, emotional nourishment begins to take root. Compassion, peace, breath. And these are the things that finally let your nervous system exhale. So burn it, don't read it. And let the ashes fall like permission into the wind, because sometimes you don't need to say sorry again. You just need to stop holding the knife against your own chest. Let it go, let it burn, let it end. Chapter 7. Water, salt, silence. Now that you've released what couldn't be forgiven, it's time to cleanse the space it left behind, not just physically, but energetically. This ritual is simple but deeply powerful: water, salt, and silence. Cancer is a water sign, and water isn't just for hydration, it's a conductor of memory, a carrier of emotion. Your body remembers everything it's been through, and sometimes the only way to reset its frequency is through ritual touch. Run a bath if you can. Add salt, not for the skin, but for the soul. If not, simply wash your hands or face with full presence. No distractions, no music, no scrolling, just silence. Let every drop be an intention. This isn't mine, this isn't mine, this isn't mine. You might wonder, can water really do that? Yes, because when combined with attention, it becomes a spiritual solvent. You're not just washing dirt, you're washing stories, expectations, other people's energy. This moon wants your system clear, clean, receptive. Let the water carry away the noise, let the salt pull out what words couldn't, and let the silence make room for what's finally trying to reach you. Chapter 8. Do not contact them. If someone's been echoing in your thoughts, an ex, a friend who vanished, a wound that never closed, do not reach out, not tonight, not under this moon. You might feel the pull, the urge to just check in, to send a message, to break the silence with a few safe words. But that urge isn't clarity, it's emotional residue. And this new moon, it's not just your test, it's theirs too. Cancer moons stir memory. They resurface people, conversations, energy cords that haven't been truly severed. But don't mistake that stirring for a sign to reconnect. This isn't about reconciling, it's about recalibrating. Your silence right now is sacred, and breaking it prematurely could unravel the inner shift you've worked so hard to begin. You might ask, but what if they're thinking of me too? They probably are. That's the point. Let them feel your absence. Let the echo of you linger. The real magic happens in the space you don't fill. This moon is asking you to hold your line, to let the energy speak louder than the words ever could. Because once you understand why, you'll realize that silence wasn't the absence of power. It was the protection of it. Which brings us to Chapter 9. Your palms are holding something the moon just placed there, and now we arrive at what's been quietly building this whole time, the hidden activation. The message the moon didn't speak, but transferred, not through words, but through your hands. You may have already felt it, tingling in your palms, a strange warmth in your fingers, the sudden urge to touch, create, rearrange. It's not nervous energy. It's not restlessness, it's memory, ancient memory, the kind your soul carries but your mind doesn't recognize. This new moon didn't just clear emotions, it coded your body, and your hands were the first to receive the imprint. In mystic traditions, the hands are seen as extensions of the heart and the spirit. They carry the blueprint of healing, creation, transmission. What you touch now carries energy, not just intention. If your fingers keep reaching for the same object, the same texture, the same gesture over and over again, it's a message trying to complete itself through movement. Your final ritual is this: touch with intention. Lay your hand on your heart. Dip your fingers in water. Trace your journal without writing a word. Let your skin speak, because the future isn't forming in your thoughts. It's being etched through your touch. This is how it begins. So as this new moon in Cancer draws near, remember, this isn't just a reset. It's a return to your roots, your silence, your power. The rituals you just witnessed aren't just symbolic, they're energetic instructions. And if you follow them with intention, the moon will answer. If this message stirred something in you, like the video, subscribe for what's coming next, and comment 77 below to anchor your energy. Let the universe know you're listening. You didn't find this by chance. You were guided here for a reason. The activation has already begun. Now it's your turn to respond.